What is up, Honey Badger Nation? This is John Kitchens, and welcome to episode 165 of Expert Mentors Live. And as always, man, I'm super pumped to get into the conversations every week with some of the most amazing honey badgers on the planet, not in the U.S., but on the planet. And today's going to be no different. We've got Mr. Rick Dhillon on with us from the GTA, and man, we're going to dive into secrets of getting multiple offers accepted in any market, and I know we'll dive into a lot of other things. So Rick, what's up, man? Say hi to Honey Badger Nation.
What's up, Honey Badger Nation, guys? It's been it's a pleasure to be here, man. I love hanging out with you guys every day. I watch you guys. It's cool. This Facebook group is cool because I get to keep tabs on everybody. Keeps me motivated. Best group I've been in, man, and I've been doing this 16, 17 years now. And the best time I had is obviously the last, not quite year and a half, but almost there, since I partnered with all you guys at EXP. So whatever value I could bring, it'll be a pleasure because you guys are giving me a lot of value for sure.
Yeah, and I know you're a wealth of knowledge and value. So today's going to be no different. Being able to pour back into to everybody. So I'm with you, man. This is I've never been a part of a group like this. And a group that inspires you, a group that holds you accountable, a group that challenges you to be to become the best version of yourself. And everybody's obviously we're all wired competitively, but we really come from a place of love and contribution
in every aspect, though, right? Like today, I saw you sent a nice post to Holly. That was nice. Relationships. I see you always working on your health. We were talking about crazy stuff that you do. So I like the balance. I like the balance that the group brings. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing to make money hand over fist, but having the right relationships and having the health to enjoy it in the long run. That's what I really enjoy about this group. I've been watching Veronica's journey on her social media, and man, that's inspiring too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's all you guys are inspiring me, so it's amazing in every which way, which is good.
Yeah. You know what's really cool is that when you're in a group to where you feel safe, to where you can be vulnerable and then be able to bring the best version of yourself. Right. Yeah. We all have a unique gift, a unique ability, a unique skill set, a unique talent. And you're in an environment that, people are going to, you're free to give. And really that's what, Expert Mentors has really been all about. I mean, here we are 165 episodes deep. And
it's crazy, man.
You look at the people that have just right? Just give everything that they have, the best of the best. And you just go back and it's an all-star lineup. You just keep scrolling through there. So man, for everybody kind of tuning in, Rick, give them the short version. You've been in the game for quite a while, but man, give them a little bit of background.
Yeah. You want the little elevator pitch? Okay. So, what can I say, man? I started in 2005. I had an accounting background. Until I got into real estate, besides athletics, probably really never, tried and really focused in something. I wasn't the greatest employee. So I apologize to the people that hired me in the past. I just didn't feel it. I was a guy that extended lunch breaks from an hour to 2 hours and called in sick. And I'm just to give you the real truth. And I questioned myself and I was like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Like, why am I doing this? I was just never passionate about what I've done. Growing up, I didn't have, a wealth of knowledge in terms of mentors to go to. So I owe real estate a lot. When I say I owe real estate a lot, I mean a whole lot, because that real estate license, when I got it back in 2005, and I went through my ups and downs, like we all did.
Sure.
We all have our story. But that actual real estate license actually gave me a target every year, because I wanted to do well. So yeah, back to the journey. It started in 2005. Started with Century 21 at that time. I'll tell you a quick story, man. My first year in real estate, I can't even make this shit up. My first year in real estate, first 6 months, I didn't sell a whole lot. I didn't sell anything. And then the summer of 2005, I think I went ahead and I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 deals, but it was at least 4. And I wrapped them up waiting. And it all happened within a week, because I was kind of like, had people in my pipeline. I can't even make this up, man. I'm telling you, all of those deals, I remember it was August 2005. One by one, I got a mutual release on all of them. A mutual release. I don't know if it's the same where you guys is. I mean, the deal dissolved. Like they didn't want it anymore. And I was like, I didn't have any listings back then. I was representing buyers. I don't know if I was too aggressive or what, but literally, and that was the universe testing me. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I got the hang of it in 06. I think I did pretty good back then. I think I hit 6 figures my second year.
That's great.
Which was hard back in 06.
Yep.
Prices weren't that high, and it was whatever. And then this is just my mental makeup in 06 or 07. I can't remember the years really. It's been a while, but I remember we had a Century 21 gala, and I hit that $100,000 mark, which I should have been proud of, but I didn't even go up for the award. I didn't even go up for the award, man, because I don't know if anybody's been Century 21, but like the big players, they get those Oscars. They look like Oscars. I actually have 2 of them up there.
Two Oscars.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see them. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going up until I get an Oscar. And they were saying, Rick Dhillon. I was like, no, I'm not going up. So I kind of went up when I started getting those Oscars, and pretty good solo agent. At this point, I really, again, not a lot of mentorship. It was just from what really saved me, I think, was Audible. It wasn't Audible back then, but we had a store nearby where you can rent CDs. And I wouldn't listen to music. And I remember back then I had my Honda Accord, and I would just listen to that day in, day out, day in, day out. The first book that changed my life was, I still remember it, Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. Yep. I was like, holy, he was talking about how you can program your subconscious mind, and your conscious mind is like a golf ball, and your subconscious mind is a basketball. That kind of really opened up my world. And then, like everybody else, in order for me to go to the next level, I got coaching, hit the Mike Ferries, the Craig Proctors, pretty much got a little bit of everything, and started a team. And here I am, man. That's kind of more than an elevator pitch, but
no, it's fantastic, right? And just understanding. So you're in Toronto, right? Or you're just outside?
Yeah, I have a place in Toronto, but yeah, I live currently outside in the GTA, which brings me to, I believe in real estate investing heavy. So I would take my commission checks and I would invest. I would buy property in the outskirts, because I knew they would go in the outskirts. Not no more. Now even the outskirts are crazy. And then, a few years ago, I took some of those properties. I sold them because they had double, tripled in price over the last decade and a half. And I got into developing. So currently, we're building condos in the GTA, downtown Toronto, and in Vancouver. So, however, putting all that aside because of this EXP thing, although I was on that trajectory, I've never quite seen anything like this. I know this is not a EXP talk, but this is kind of, and then met you guys. I'm like, here we are.
So I know we're going to kind of dive in and chat a little bit about, kind of what's still going on for most markets across the country, and being able to really understand that there's always going to be certain pockets, right? Certain spots, certain locations, certain price points that will always be, supply and demand, super competitive. So even when the market maybe cools, with the supply and demand, at least in some price points, but you're still going to have to know how to position your offer to always win, competing or not competing. So definitely, excited, for you to kind of unpack the process that you guys have used and really fine-tuned over the years.
Yeah. We had no choice. We've been in multiple offers since forever, man. Like it's
Long
because
time.
we had dips like where we're not, but when the market's hot here, you're competing. Like check this out. One of the agents that had partnered with me sent me a screenshot yesterday. He's doing an offer, and he got an email from the listing agent. 54 registered offers, man. 54.
So how do you stand out? How do you become the one?
So here we go. I have like this kind of method that's been working for me, and we'll get right into it. I think everything starts with mindset. Everything starts with mindset to me. So I like putting my shoes in this, obviously go into the seller's shoes. So when somebody has 54 offers or 5 offers or 10 offers or even 2 or 3 offers that you're competing against, the seller is no longer looking at, price, and they're going to get their price. At this point, they're going to get non-conditional offers as well. So the mindset that I'm talking about, I got to go lawyer mode. All right. So I bring hard evidence, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys today.
Okay.
Because the mindset now is to plant a seed of doubt, like a reasonable doubt, like a lawyer would, that other offers are not going to go through. Okay. And that's without bashing other offers. That's not what we're trying to do. But I think that's really important to come with evidence. So the steps I'm going to give you today is coming with hard evidence and other little techniques that are going to help you, because there's 2 things that when I'm dealing with a seller or a listing agent, I know 2 things are going to help me. Pull on the financial strengths, making my offer the best. That's probably first and foremost. However, also pulling on some heartstrings, emotional strings. If you sold houses long enough, man, like I've been in a situation where I was a listing agent, and when the house sold, somebody was crying because they're so emotional that they have to move, right? So you want to pull on both of those strings. So going into a mindset as a lawyer is step number 1, and then I'll give you the steps right now. It doesn't hurt to become friends with the agent. I know it's simple, but become friends with the listing agent. I see a lot of agents that are just combating 54 offers. No, what the heck? You're crazy. When are you? How are you going to, present this? Are you going to be doing that? Like, just become friends with the agent. That agent is overwhelmed in a multiple offer situation too. Couple things I want to know from the agent if you're taking notes. First and foremost, be friendly. I want to know how him or her are organizing the multiple offer situation. Are you going to do 1 round? Are you going to do 2 rounds? Are you going to even do 3 rounds? Like, how are you organizing it? How are you presenting it? Okay. How are you going to present it? So at this point, guys, I'm trying to present my own offers. Okay. The other thing I want to find out from the listing agent, guys, very important, is if they have their own offer that they're bringing to the table. Okay. How are they presenting the offers? And do you have your own offer? That is huge. All right. Because if they have their own offer, you want to know that. And you can jump in anytime, man, if you want to elaborate. But then I want to make sure that I'm doing my offers face to face. It's harder now it's hard. I want to present my own stuff.
Get face to face with them.
I don't want to rely. So sometimes it's a Zoom. Sometimes it's a Zoom. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this, Rick. So, one of the things when you hear 54, 55 offers, or even 10 offers.
Yeah.
I guess the first point that you have to make is, like, do you even want to play this game?
Absolutely.
Right? Is that the conversation you're having with your client? So we're really speaking from working with the buyer, representing a buyer. So is that the question that you even have? You're like, hey, understand we've got multiple, 10, 20, 50 offers. do we even want to play this game? Is that a conversation or a question that you ask?
100%. And you have to understand the game, because if somebody is getting 54, offers, let's just put some numbers behind it. Let's say the fair market value of that property is $1 million. All right. And, but they're probably listing it at like 749, 899. So I know right off the bat, half of those offers are not going to even. So I'm really competing with 25. Like you have to know your market a little bit. But definitely, I do have that question. I do have that, conversation with the buyer. I'm like, hey, this is what we're getting into. I actually let them know all the steps, and then say, hey, you guys want to roll with this or not? There comes a point in the home buying journey, at least in our market, where they might say no the first time. And 54 is a lot, guys. I've never seen that. So I don't want to think that's a norm, but 15 is definitely a norm, up to 20. So I would say, let's say over 10 to 20 offers of what we're competing with here. 54 was like, wow, I've never seen that before.
Is that because of a certain location, a certain price point?
I don't even know where it was, man, to be quite honest. But yeah, I would assume so. It's probably like a lower a house, because in the GTA here, there's so much stuff that's unaffordable. So if this was like a duplex or like a townhouse that's kind of affordable, people are going to be jumping on it.
So Rick, what are some of the things that you're educating, coaching, teaching your agents and even yourself? Trying to understand the market. What do you like to look at? What do you like to pay attention to? Are there certain key metrics that you really look at?
I was obsessed, man. That opens up a whole can of worms. I mean, I think one of my core beliefs, taking a pitch of Michael Burtt, is I believe that every real estate agent should know real estate. I don't believe that we should hand off our buyers to a lender or a mortgage broker. I think it's our responsibility to walk them through how that process works. So if you're working on my team, you have to know how financing works, what a GDS is, what a TDS is, what are the 4 key criteria that banks look at. We're teaching all that kind of stuff. Right now, I'm paying huge attention to inflation. Because as inflation goes up, I think our inflation here was over 4%. And simple economics tells me if inflation is going up, interest rates have to go up, unless we're going to have to start bringing like a knapsack full of cash to buy a chocolate bar. And that comes from, all the money that was printed from the pandemic. So yeah, hell yeah, I pay attention to that. And every real estate agent should know, those kind of things. What are the key variables on where the market's going? Because when I'm sitting in front of a prospect, I go from lead, everyone starts off as a lead, to prospect to hopefully client. But I'm not stopping there. I want a supporter, or some of you guys call it raving fan.
Yeah.
I want everybody. So when I'm sitting with even an initial consult, we have buyer presentations that we do to get a BRA signed or a buyer agreement signed, whatever you guys have it called, because I want to show this person right from the onset that if you want real estate, you want to use Rick and his team. So I'm trying to cause raving fans right from the beginning. So yes, yeah. 100%.
I believe that 100%. You have to, and what I'm hearing from you, and I want everybody to pick this up, is that to be a true expert advisor and you want to create those raving fans, you have to control the experience. So you've making sure that you're putting them in front of the right people, because if you put them in front of the wrong person, that could tarnish the experience, which will not allow a raving fan. So I love kind of your philosophy and kind of getting everybody to buy into it. Ours, we lifetime value, right? We focus on LTV. It's not a transaction treadmill. It's about building lifetime value.
Yeah. And I want to make my life easy. I mean, I love success, but I like chilling just a little bit more. That's my line. So I want to, if I have enough raving fans, I don't have to work so hard.
No.
Yeah, I just do some events, keep them into proof. I make sure we give back to a worthy cause with our, raving fans and things like that. So the more people, I call it my book of business. If I have 100 people that are in my book and business, I don't ever have to worry about making sale ever again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back on understanding, we know how important it is to know the market, but then we look at, okay, hey, we have this market knowledge. We're talking with our clients. Hey, we want to play this game. We've got 20 offers. We know we're
Yeah.
probably only going to compete with 10. So then what's that next step?
All right,
Like,
let's
hey,
go to the next step. All right, so face to face is where we left off. I'm trying to get, and at this point, the agent might say, Rick, I can't do that, man, you know. And I'm like, listen, this is my line. Okay, I go, look, let's say, John, you were the listing. I'd be like, John, listen, man, I get it. You got to be fair to everybody, but I'm not bringing just a regular offer here. I have private and confidential information from the buyer that I don't want to just leave. And I'll right now, I'll just kind of like, you know, play with you a little bit. I'm like, I'm talking about bank statements. I'm talking about all kinds of stuff. And they'll be like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I need to present that. If you can't get me face to face, brother, let's just hit up a Zoom. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Just take your laptop with you. So I want to present it myself because I already know I'm going to present that offer better than he or she is, especially if he or she has his own offer.
Right. And just kind of explain why that's important, that you want to do the face-to-face interaction as much as possible.
A, I'm going to stand out because not a lot of agents are going to be face-to-face. B, I get a read off the seller on what's important to them. I'm a huge proponent of, you know, reading body language and just, I might pick up something. Hey, price doesn't really matter. Closing date does, you know what I'm saying? Or,
yeah,
you know, or whatever. I can pick up on that. And I can present this offer the way that it's meant to be. So I'll go further and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. So guys, price, you have to have a competitive price. If you don't have a competitive price, none of this is going to work. You know, let's call a spade a spade. At this point, you've you coached your buyers where the price is going to be with comparables and things like that. And just kind of the other reason I want face to face is towards the end of this, I can find out if I'm high or low in price. Where do I need to go? So, okay, the next step, guys, after you figure out price is you cannot come in with a conditional offer. Some of this stuff is very basic, but we'll cover the basic stuff first. You can't have a financing offer or an inspection offer. It's got to be clean, clean, clean. To add to that, the higher your deposit, the better. The initial deposit, you don't want to be doing, you want to do at least 5% in our market. Okay, so they feel comfortable.
So I want to emphasize with everybody right here, right? So this is what we would always coach with our agents and everything is like, if they're not willing to do this, they're not a real buyer in this market.
Exactly.
And you've got to understand that. Let's help them, put them in the best situation that we can. That means, hey, can we help them get into a rental? What can we do for them? And then now it's the long-term nurture. And when they're able to buy again, or they're in a better position, or the market changes, now we can dive back into the people that have shown interest. But you have to it's what is Brian Carruthers talks about it and teaches it, right? You know, you can't turn any other card into an ace, right?
Yeah.
And
We handled that right at the initial console.
Okay.
They're not even getting this far if we don't know. Like it might be like I want to make sure that they're qualified, but I know what you're saying. They might be qualified and not be willing to pay the game. You find that out in this situation, definitely. We still go through the process because you might lose this one, but sometimes they have to lose one or two in our market to be like, shit, Rick, maybe you were right.
You know what I'm saying? Demonstration, right? It's like, you know, what do I do different? What do I do? Yeah. But here, let me show you some demonstrations. And maybe the demonstration isn't enough. You need to experience the pain.
You got it, man. You got to experience the pain. I love that. So, okay. So it's got to be unconditional. Let's get to some good stuff here. This one, there's some of this stuff I bet you only maybe 10% of the listeners do, but it's going to be fun. So you got to come in with your bank draft. All right. So depending on the market, it is really common that after, you know, how is that the clause reads? You have 24 to 48 hours to bring in the deposit after an accepted offer. So remember, let's go to step one again, lawyer mode. Mindset. What I'm trying to do right now is bring a seed of doubt in the seller's head that other people might not bring a bank draft. Yeah, you might have an unconditional offer with a good price, but this you could put the sold sticker on today. And I'll say that without bashing others because you want to do it with humility, right? And I'll just say something like, guys, I'm walking in here with money. So, and a sold sticker in case you don't have one. I've done that. I brought my own sold sticker. the deposit. Like, here you guys go. So you can accept this today. Anything that stands out, right? So
That's
sold
great.
sticker, deposit. Yeah, man.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Magician.
good.
Because a lot of times the listing agent didn't bring a sold sticker, right? I'm like, I got you, bro. Okay, so bank draft, pretty general. Okay, so this is where I think I go above and beyond. And now I'm presenting my case. So this is why I need to do this face-to-face. So I'll do a little role play, John. If you're the listing agent, I'm just going to be like, hey, John. And I'm talking to you. Oh, I'll always give the listing agent a huge compliment in front of the seller. Always. I'll be like, hey, Mr. Miss Seller, John's a rock star, man. You have no idea how upbeat and how on point he was on selling your house. You guys made an awesome decision with this guy. He's a rock star. Okay. Hey, I want to recruit you to EXP. No,
Let's have coffee afterwards.
Yeah. This is prior to that. It's just a smart thing to do. Okay. So after I done all that, I presented the bank draft. I am bringing a letter from my lender. We call it a pre-approval letter here. And I'll present it like this. I'll say, hey, John, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm sure at this point you guys have 20 offers, as you guys disclosed to me. I'm sure a lot of them are, don't have the conditions. I wanted to bring in the bank draft so it could be sold today. Also, guys, I've seen nightmares. I'm not going to say that this happens in this situation, but I've seen nightmares where on closing 60 days from now, it doesn't go through because although, they get caught up in this bidding kind of thing, it's an emotional thing. I just wanted to have this letter approved here to you guys that we are pre-approved. We're not just involved in this outbidding thing and scratching out our financing clause. That's huge, man.
Yeah, that's big.
That's big. Okay, so I bring that letter from the lender, from the bank. They read it, they touch it, they feel it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just trying to, and I'll always say, guys, I don't know I'm building that seed that I'm trying to stand out, and I'm putting that seed in there that they never even thought of. Because right now the seller and the listing agent is like, let's get the most price, let's get the best closing date. And I'm like, wait a minute, y'all. You have to think if this deal is going to even close. All right. So, right. And then the next thing, you guys have to judge who you're working with. But usually, if I'm knocking out financing and I'm coming in firm, I've got a client that has a hefty down payment. Guess what? Rick's bringing their bank statement. I'll scratch out all the pertinent information, but let's say it's $1 million house and my client is putting down $300,000. The seller needs to know. All right. Yeah. Nobody's doing this shit. Right. So the seller needs to know. Right. So I'll be like,
how hard resistance are you trying to be, being able to present the offer to the seller and the agent? Is that, does it happen 90% of the time? Does it happen, all the time? Like what is,
I think when I personally do it, it happened 80% of the time.
Is that
and then the other 20%? Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Is that because you've built great relationship within the community to where people are
yeah, that helps. But man, I don't want to take no for an answer.
Okay.
It's just another objection.
I feel that's going to be a limiting belief for people listening in saying, well, you can't do that here.
It was the norm before the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, watch this. So you can go to 100% of the time or 90% of the time. Sometimes they'll say, hey, listen, I'll give you my offer. You just got to keep it. I'll ask my buyer if you can see the private information. Okay. But you got to put me on speakerphone.
Got it.
Dude, listen, even if they said, depending on how, I got to feel out the situation. Sometimes they say, hey, just email it in and we're going to present at 7. And I'll have me and my buyers around the corner at a Timmy's, right? Waiting. I like having my buyers present. So they're part of this process. They understand what's going on, man. It's just
does that move you in? So what I'm hearing, and I just want to make sure everybody kind of connects the dots here, is that moves into the second phase of being able to tap into the emotions.
You got it.
Yeah.
They've got to feel that what you're feeling, because they've got to be part of. You can go. I know, John, man, you're a superstar. You go for these ultra marathon runs and stuff. You can come and tell me about it. I probably wouldn't even be able to do it with you. But unless I was there with you and I seen your sweat and like, I'd be like, holy
Yeah,
shit.
you start to experience it. Yeah.
Started. So that your buyer needs to experience it if you have any chance. Otherwise, it's just you know. So here, just to touch base, it used to be a norm here. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know what your market is. So our chances could be a lot higher because presenting offers face to face pre-pandemic was a norm. There'd be a lineup of cars outside of the house, and listing agent calls buyer agent one by one, and we have our buyers in our car.
Got it.
Okay,
Okay.
just that's my disclaimer. That's why
Got
maybe
it.
it's higher for us. It used to be a
Yep.
norm for us. That's the way we just did it. Or we're meeting at the listing agent's office and we're bringing
Right.
the buyers.
So everybody kind of listening in, if that has not been the norm in your market. So think about this, right? When you two things happens that where money changes hands. One, when you solve a problem, that's where money changes hands. The other, money moves towards differentiation. So if all of the agents in the marketplace are not doing that, it's just you zig, you want to zag, right? That's why our listing and buyer presentations are on a placemat. Why? Because nobody has a placemat. Everybody puts it on technology. Everybody has, something else, right? Money moves to differentiation. So if this is not a norm in your market, this might be the exact thing that you need to do that's going to separate you from everybody else.
1000%, man. And a lot of times listing agents like, yeah, do it, man. I don't want to do it. Okay, cool. Let's roll. And guys, right now, all the stuff that you have to really prepare your client. Like I've never taken on the role as like, I've always tried to take on the role as an expert. Always. So sometimes I say this and they're like, Rick, you ask for your clients' financial information. I'm like, yeah, of course I do, man. Yeah. I can't sign off on a multiple offer if I don't know how much money they're putting down. Yeah. I can't go to a doctor and I can't give them my symptoms. Like accountant can't do your taxes if you don't give them your receipts, man. Like, yes, I'm asking for this stuff. Yes, I'm asking for this stuff. How much money? What's your credit? Let me see it. Go to Equifax. I am in charge of that. I don't say go talk to my mortgage broker.
Love it.
I'll have a mortgage broker on the side to help me. So, okay, so we do the proof of down payment. So now the seller's like, holy, this offer is really going to go through. They're putting down a hefty down payment. And then I'll add a little line about the appraisal. And I'll say, hey, you have 20 offers right now. You want money. There's a chance that, this house might not even appraise. Let's say the fair market value, Mr. Seller, is $1 million, and you end up selling this for $1,050,000. The bank is only going to give the buyer, financing up to $1 million. I had that talk with my buyer. I wanted to show you the funds in case there's a little difference. They love your house so much that we're willing to pay it out of pocket. Boom.
Powerful.
Boom.
You remove that doubt.
Remove that doubt. So remember, going back, I'm a lawyer. They're the judge. I'm planting that seed. And if other agents aren't doing this, it's not about just price anymore. It's about, okay, I want this house to close because and I'll say something like, I will slip this in. I'll be like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let's assume that you guys are matching a closing date because you guys have bought a house. Let's assume they're buying a house as well. Last thing you want to do is on closing date, January 30th, whatever that date is, that you guys are caught in limbo. I'm not saying that's going to happen because John is great. He probably will make sure that won't happen. But there is a chance, and I want to make sure with us that's not going to happen. So you can go ahead and make your move to your house. Because that happens here in a crazy market. Closing date, funding gets pulled. Doesn't happen often, but if appraisal doesn't go through, all these buyers, 54 offers, house worth $1 million, now it sells for 1.3. Bank says, yo, I'm not going to give you 1.3. You should have talked to me first. Mm-hmm. What happens? So I want to remove that as well.
That's awesome.
Okay, and then the next step, I only have a couple more steps. So by now, you guys should have all the information. So at this point, I'll show the buyer video. So I know having a letter written from the buyer is cool because you want to pay on the emotional thing, but it doesn't work as good. That's the first. I see a lot of agents presenting, and that's the first thing that they pull out. The seller's not listening to you at this point. I've proven to them we're financially good. That's what they care about.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Now, how are you going to move them, right? How are you going to get them into phase 2?
Yeah. So but this is a very important point, because people do buyer letters and stuff like that. I suggest you do it for video so they can see the person, right? But I strongly suggest you do it towards the end rather than the first thing that you do, because now the seller's ears are open to you, because right now what they're thinking is price. They have 20 offers to go through. What's the price? I start reading a letter from my buyer. They're like, come on, man, I got to do dinner. So do it at the end where you've already, and there's one more clause I have, but do it right at the end where you say, hey, listen, when you say, I just have and make it short, a minute video from my buyer.
Yeah.
Hey, we love your house. We love that pink room. Our daughter's going to have fun in it. The school's around the corner, is perfect for our family, blah, blah, blah.
And just so everybody understands, right? So what Rick is the whole process and philosophy here, right? Attorney to emotions, logic to emotion. And remember, when we say emotion, it's you have to so understand the meaning, right? This will impact. I think this will help connect the dots for people. They get it, but here's why it's so powerful. The emotion comes from, I think it's the Latin word morve. Essentially, what it means is emotion plus move.
Wow.
So that's where the two words came. So think about that. We want to have a positive emotion to move them in the direction we want them to go. If they have a negative emotion, they're going to move in the opposite direction. So understand what that means, right? The whole psychology, the whole science behind it. So why you have to do this, because you emotionally need to get them to move in the direction you want them to go.
That's cool, man. Learned something new today. Yeah, that's deep, man. That is well said. Now you got to play in their emotion. But after you prove that you're serious,
100%.
You got a serious offer.
Because you're solving the only problem, the only thing going on in their head, and this is marketing 101, right? You just join the conversation. And so what you're doing is you're solving the question that's keeping them up at night. Hey, is this offer going to get us what we need? Now you move them. So this is really right things, right order.
Yeah, right things, right order. That's why on my listing presentations, I make sure we pre-frame. I teach my guys to make sure you walk in and you pre-frame. Pre-frame is basically you just let the seller know what they're in for, because you want them to pay attention to your marketing, but you got to let them know that you are covering price and commission. Otherwise, so how that goes, hey, Mr. and Miss Seller, this is what I'm going to do today. We're going to go ahead and do a walkthrough. I just put my stuff on their kitchen table. We're going to go ahead and do a walkthrough. And then I get back and I say, hey, I'm going to go over my marketing and my SaaS and whatever you want to know. But after that, we will be covering price, and I have some comparables with me. We'll do that. And of course, our favorite topic will be covering commission before we decide to work together. So now I have their attention in the points where I want their attention. Otherwise, if I'm just talking and I don't say that, the whole time they'll be like, they're not paying attention to my value added. They're just paying, okay, what's the price? What's the price? What's the price? They might even interrupt me, say, hey, what's the price? What's the commission? So you got to set them at ease. And I'm kind of doing the same thing here.
Here's a little nugget with what Rick just shared with you guys. And this works with buyers and sellers. You want to find out what's the most important to them in the beginning, because when an offer comes in or it's time to make an offer, our clients have selective amnesia, and we have to remind them of what the original goal was. And so now if they're off in left field, we can reel them back in with, well, has the goal changed? Originally, this was the goal. This is what was the most important to you. So that's a little negotiation thing that you've got to collect that information and what the real objective is up front.
Right. Yeah. 100%. So, and then close them in tranches is what we call it, right? So that's a whole different video.
That's a whole different conversation.
So make this 2 hours, do you?
So on the negotiation piece, right? You've hit the emotional strain. How do you wrap it up, right?
Man. So I know 10 times out of 10 when you have that many offers, well, let's say 9.5, right? Because of crazy things do happen. There's going to be a second round. Okay. And this is why building that rapport, guys, man, people do business with people they like or who they want to be like.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like straight up. So I need to do this face to face, because I'm going to get, by now, there's no way the seller's not gonna like me, you know, because they're gonna be like, yo, they're gonna be thinking, yo, this guy's sly or this guy's sharp. I like the way he's gonna get my deal done or whatever. And then you just use your little charisma, you know, bring out Winnie the Pooh and just be like, you know, when they say, are we close? Like, what are you thinking? Read their body language. Say, hey, Rick, we're gonna go two rounds. Say, okay, all right, I can do that. But besides the prices are offer good, you like everything we did. Like, yeah, we love it, man. We're actually rooting for you. Okay, cool. So, you know, like, can you give me a little hint, you know, whatever? And they'll say no. I'll say, we're 10 off, 20 off, 30 off. And I'll read their body language and they'll be like, boom, boom. I go, okay, I'm back. Now I'll go back to my buyer. That's why it's so important that you have them there. They see me going in and out, or they're right there. I put them on speaker, man. Here you go. Listen to this stuff. There's no secrets. You're not getting you're not getting like, you know, nobody's pulling the wool over your eyes. This is what I'm going through. Have a seat. Here's some popcorn. Let's roll. And then I'm like, okay, guys, look, our offer's pretty good. We got to go a little bit more if you want to. And this is what I sometimes say, okay, they're really excited. They'll go way over. I'm like, nah, you don't need to do that. You know, but you can. I don't want to be in the way how much you like that out. So I have pulled people back many a time. Because at this point, guys, I don't know if I could train this. This is just experience. I just kind of have a good gauge at this point, you know, of where we need to go. I know my market. Yeah. And I know where it's too much. I know. I will tell my buyer, guys, although I'm trying to get this house, it's not about my commission check. I want my buyer to be in that house that they want in. So if I feel like they're paying too much, I will tell them. I'm like, guys, at this point, I think. And I'll also go back, like how John was saying, hey guys, when we first, you know, had this journey, you said this was like a 5, 6, 7 year plan. So I feel comfortable if that's it. But if you're looking to move in a year or two, guys, don't do it. You know,
I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because the negotiation, the positioning, everything you do is in alignment to the goal. If it's a short term, might not make sense.
Yeah.
Right? So,
and you have to have integrity enough to say that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, we'll get the next one. So then here's the last trick in the bat belt or whatever you want to call it, utility belt. So I don't know if this is, you guys have to check your market. There's something called an escalation clause, right? You'd have to check your market. So at this point, I will go best foot forward. And then I would only put this on the second round because I don't want the listing agent telling, hey, everybody else has an escalation clause, or I don't want to use it if I don't have to. So let's say John, this is the final round. You're not going to BS me, right? Like you're not going to do round 3, 2 or close. No, Rick, we're taking it, man. It's late. I got to go for dinner, put my kids to sleep. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Okay, so offers back. I'm back at the table or on Zoom or on speaker. And I'm like, all right, guys, I bumped it up 25 grand. And everything else stays the same. You sure that this closing date works for you guys? Because I can give you anything that you want at this point. My guys are living with their family. We're good. We have nothing to sell. Whatever your situation is. Then I would add an escalation clause, depending on your market, guys, and depending on, you have to look into this. But an escalation clause is pretty much, in layman terms, saying that we are presenting this price, but we are willing to beat the highest price that you received by $5,000 at a cap of this. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So then I would say, hey, Mr. Miss Seller, look, my guys really want this house. If this is the best offer, take it. I'm just relying on your integrity here. But if not, and we're behind for a few grand, we're willing to put up $5,000 as per that escalation clause, or $7,000, you know, and that hopefully will do the trick and get you guys the deal. It's a lot better than what I used to do. that's for sure. So.
No, man, that's absolute gold. There's so many nuggets in there, and understanding how everything works together. And one thing that you said there right at the end is it's not about your commission check when your North Star is about creating raving fans.
Yeah.
And so when you know that that's the desired outcome, then you're doing everything that's best for them, and it ain't about you.
Yeah.
And so, because if you do that, then it's going to be the best for you, right?
Absolutely.
It's going to be way more than that one commission check. And
Absolutely.
so I just want to emphasize that
Yeah.
just kind of tie that together.
And there's been times, guys, going back to your question, John, like if I had never personally been in 54 offers. I've been where high 20s for sure. But if my guys, if I know the market and if my buyer isn't going to be competing, I will tell them, hey guys, you know what? That price and that's our max price. Like we can't go any higher. This is not the house for you guys. Enjoy your evening. I have no problem saying that.
Yeah.
I have no problem saying that because I don't want to waste their time. But you got to know your market, and it depends on your buyer's personality too. If they're real D and say they want to do it anyway, then you got to do it for them. I might not go through this whole process because none of this stuff will work. Like that's what I said. All this stuff, the backing, the evidence, the lawyer mode you got to go in. It's only going to work if you have, a competitive price. Now, I've done this where I've gotten offers accepted and we weren't the highest price. I know that to be so because I would get a call when it updates from MLS from the person that had a higher price. Say, Rick, how the hell did you do that? I had $10,000 higher than you. I'm like, yo,
Come join me at EXP.
And I don't know, man. I have no idea, man. Like whatever, right? So it will work because if there's just there's a little seed of doubt there, and sometimes the seller now thinks it's going too high, it won't close. And now the seller will go back and ask these other people, hey, dude, some agents are crafty. Like I had a situation with this would drag out for hours because now listing agent and seller take my offer and like are asking the other competitor offers, can you bring me a copy of your bank draft? Can you bring me your down payment? Like let me show you. They're using my offer to kind of, that happens rarely, but it can happen. So
yeah. Well, brother, man, fantastic, powerful, chock full of nuggets and knowledge. And man, I really appreciate you taking the time, jumping in, being what this whole community and what, this expert mentors run is all about. And that's just coming from a place of contribution and just trying to deposit as much value as possible.
You know what, man? It comes from the top. Comes from the top. You kind of mimic your leadership. I'm a huge proponent of that. And I, getting to know you, Albie, Jay, and I learned things from you guys. And I learned something from Jay right off the bat and how to run an organization. And he didn't even know he was doing it. He was just being an ethical, integrable guy that he is. And I won't get into the story, but it was just like, wow. And I've done the same thing ever since with my organization. So you really learn it from the top, man. And you guys are doing a great job. So thank you.
Well, I mean, thank you for that. And, it's when you get into there and you're committed to really a collection, and it comes back to the values, right? What you stand for. And, for us, it's living true to those each and every day. And I had a conversation with my coach last night, and he had coached a recruiter that was because I'm here in OKC, and that's where the Timothy McVeigh, the federal building, and the bombing back in 90, I think it was 94, 95, and we were talking about the memorial, and it's one of the, I've never had that type of when you walk into the memorial, your whole the present changes, right? The energy changes. And if you ever come to OKC, anybody listening in, you got to make sure that that's like the number one thing you do is go visit the memorial. And we were talking about it, and he goes, I think about that almost every day. I said, well, why is that? He said, well, the gentleman that I coached was a recruiter, Army recruiter that had an office in that building. And when the bomb went off, he had only seconds to get everybody out, right? Before the building started to collapse. Well, the gentleman, there was a question was asked, is like, well, why do you stay consistent in those values each and every day? He said, because living true to who you are each and every day, when it's time for me to say, get out, follow me out, the people don't question and they follow you.
Yeah, man.
And it was just such a powerful lesson. And I mean, it hit me hard last night when he shared that with me. And he said, man, he said, you don't understand the impact living true to your values and being consistent and disciplined every day, the ripple effect it has over time to when, you really need to lead. The people aren't going to question. They're going to go. And
Yeah.
it was a really powerful lesson last night. And so, thank you for sharing that. And, for all of you guys, listening in, make sure you guys connect with Rick. Rick is doing the same, right? Pouring back in, leading, and,
Trying to, man.
Every day.
Every day, bro.
Every day.
Every day, man.
That's it.
We got to go meet a whale in half an hour. So let's go. It's going to be fun, man.
That's
I'm
awesome.
excited.
Man.
I'm excited.
Cool. Well, brother, I appreciate you. All of you guys listening in, make sure you guys give Rick lots of love, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. See ya.